What up guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here today and I'm back with another video. Now today's video we're going to be reviewing and discussing chapter 92 of the Dragon Ball Super manga. Now before I get into that, I do want to give a big shout out to a new subscriber of mine by the name of Art and Craft and Animations. So big thank you to you for subscribing to this channel. Now let's get into it. This chapter, I'll be honest, was kind of disappointing. There wasn't really anything to it. Now the last chapter, I thought it was pretty decently done. You guys already know at this point my personal thought on making the Dragon Ball superhero film into manga format. I personally don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. We all saw the movie, and I know the continuity of the manga is different than the anime itself, but even then, do we really need to see it adapted in the manga format? I don't think any of us really care to see it, and it feels like kind of like it's a middleman in between what we really want to see. Because you want to see the Black Frieza story pan out and how they go past it, but it feels like we're kind of stuck in a rut by reading this, and it definitely feels like that with this chapter. Now the last chapter, I had a little bit more, I was a little bit more positive with it and had a little bit more praise for it, because I did see some different stuff that they did compared to the the movie, and I feel like when if you're gonna redo these, at least change some stuff up, because if it's pretty similar to the original, then what's the point of it? And usually in manga it's different, they should be closely linked, but when it comes to Dragon Ball Super manga, it should be significantly different than the anime itself. It has gone weird directions, but this one seemed to be the same, just with minor tweaks. And if I'm being honest, after reading this chapter, I was just not really liking it. I not only didn't like the chapter, I really did not like this idea. I know a lot of you guys also don't like the idea that they had with doing it in manga format, but this made me even more annoyed and wanted to end quicker. So we basically start off with obviously the Gamma. I forgot, was it Gamma 1? No, I think it was Gamma 2. He basically started the fight with Piccolo, and they're throwing some shots in. Piccolo does a pretty cool move where he ducks and his cape goes up, so he punches the cape thinking he's hitting him, but he just ducked underneath him and punches him right into the gut. And then they get into a scuffle like we saw in the movie, where he hit him, Piccolo takes off his clothes, then charges at him and actually starts to hit him, but he's dodging it effortlessly until Piccolo is able to catch him with a kick, sending him flying. And he comes back, and as Piccolo charges in at him, he pulls out his gun and starts firing at him, shoots him in the arm. I thought he just hit him, but apparently he states that he blew his arm off and it regenerated. So apparently that happened, but it just looked like he got shot. But he was hitting with shots. Piccolo stretches out his arm, grabs him, and then slams him into the wall and starts punching on him. But Gamma was playing around, and the tides gets turned over, and then there's the back and forth struggle, and then he blasts him. Now, personally, I thought that was pretty interesting, because the movie, the way they did the fight between Piccolo and Gamma 2 in the movie was different than the way they did in the manga, and that's what I mean by, if you're gonna recreate something, at least make it different and have something more original. That's why I kind of didn't like the resurrection of F, arc in Dragon Ball Super, because it felt exactly the same to the original, and now we have like I said, that one was basically the same. At least in the Battle of Gods arc, they did change quite a bit up from the movie, and it made it more new, and they added some things in, but that one they didn't really do it, and that's how I felt like with this chapter. But except for the scuffle there was a lot different than the movie, and to be honest, I kind of prefer what they did in this chapter than what they did in the movie itself. The movie's choreography was not bad. Dragon Ball's never really had any bad choreography, except for maybe in the Resurrection of F movie. I felt like a lot of the choreography was just Frieza and Goku charging at each other, and then it was just a bunch of shockwaves sent out everywhere. So I felt kind of lazy there. But for this one, they at least had more back and forth, and I thought it was a lot cooler to see his abilities. After this, we see Piccolo following him, finds out he's at the base. He goes in undercover like he did in the film. He's trying to find them out. They're talking about Goku and Vegeta and them. One thing I did find interesting about this is the guy stated that Goku's a mid-tier lieutenant, which made me laugh, because because you would think Goku would be the highest ranking possible, be a general of it, but he's the mid-tier lieutenant when he is literally like the strongest out of them all. It's just ridiculous for them to say that, but I thought that was kind of funny. Then they mentioned the Cell Max to show him, which was pretty cool representation, but there was nothing really to it. We see Piccolo leaving, then him going to Korn's tower, and then communicating with Korn, which he does drop out a line that was from the film, and a lot of people have, talked about this before, and there's been a bit of a discussion made from this. Personally, I disagree with it, but this is what the film has stated, and this is what people are going with and by. But for me personally, I think there's a disconnect in there, and I'll, explain that a little bit later. But what happens is, Piccolo starts talking to Korn, and they talk about if Goku and Vegeta come in there to save, and he said, well, based on my own battle, I'd say those Gammas are about on par with Goku and Vegeta themselves, which a lot of people said, well, Gamma 1 and 2 are Goku and Vegeta level characters, and Cell Max is like, he's beyond that level. Maybe even Gas level, because he was stronger than them both. He's a character that's beyond that level. And Gohan becoming his beast form and beating Cell Max, he's even more powerful than them. But their people's argument is maybe it's the Goku and Vegeta from the Tournament of Power, because they didn't see their power afterwards. A little bit in the Moro arc, but they didn't get enough. And Korn even mentions about, you said that Gohan could be the strongest in the planet and stuff like that. So that also leads into people's arguments about Gohan surpassing Goku and Vegeta through strength, because this is his movie. Then he talks about Android 17 and 18 getting the plans on how to defeat him, Boo. And basically that was it. And then we just go into, they transition back into Beerus' planet with the training. The difference between the anime and the movie and the manga is, in the movie, Broly barely did anything. He just sat there. They talked. He was going to get ready to fight, but then we just shut that down. He's like, no, you're too dangerous. You don't know how to control yourself. We saw a bit, I think, a minor scuffle between Goku and Broly, but nothing enough. And in this one, it started off with quite a bit of a fight between them, whereas the other one was mostly just about Vegeta, which I do think they're going to lead into that later. But in this one, they have Goku going up, Broly trying to blast him, Goku trying to tank it, and then he comes in and he headbutts him. Goku comes back around the tree, kicks him, and as they're talking and stuff, Goku's telling him about how he has to control himself like the other one, and he says, "I'm ready, son Goku." And that was the end of the chapter itself. Personally, it was pretty lacking. It didn't really have much to it, and like I said, it felt like it's unnecessary. It's like when you want to see something so badly, but then you see something in the middle of it that's pointless. It annoys you. Like, you can't expect the fans to be happy. Oh, you're just giving us content. We don't just want content, we want new content. This is old. We've seen the film, and I did enjoy the film, which is surprising because I didn't like the last two films from Dragon Ball. But even if I enjoyed it, that doesn't mean I want to see it again. I want to see something new. And though, like I stated multiple times, I don't like the Black Frieza concept, I'd rather watch that pan out than see this same thing over again just in manga format. I think it's just lazy. I think it's pointless, and it's just bogging down the story. We're wasting months because each of these chapters, they drop it out within not a whole month. I think they drop out every 2-3 weeks, so close to a month. So we're taking this much time for each chapter, and you're giving us shit we don't want to see. And then not only on top of that, you're making it longer. The first chapter 91, when they did it, I was praising them for making the story go up pretty fast. But this, it seems pretty slow, because now we just got to the training stuff, so we have to have them Goku and Vegeta doing their fighting, and then trying to get the plan to get Pan, and then get Pan over there, then get Gohan over there, and then have the whole fight there, and then have them try to fight Cell Max as he's released and then beat him. It's just so pointless, and I'm just annoyed. I'm just like, can we just get done with this? This is not something that I want to see. This is not what we as fans want or need. We literally want something that's engaging. This is just a waste of time, if I'm being honest. So yeah, this chapter really pissed me off. It was a pretty trash chapter. It was just mostly copying off the movie beat for beat, except for minor changes. The only thing I can really praise it is literally the fight that they had with Piccolo versus Gamma 2 in this one, because I think they did a little bit more unique looking, the choreography and the movements, but as a whole, it's not good. Like I'm just going to be honest with you guys. This, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys agree with me that this is just, waste of time. It just feels like we have something important and we want to get into that, but no, we have to waste our time on this shit. It's like watching Bleach and stuff like that. You have the arcs and they have in the middle of it some stupid shit that you don't want to see, or like in Naruto when they had the whole Infinite Tsukuyomi bullshit filler stuff. Like, we have this big event and you're cutting it up just to give us countless fillers that nobody gives a shit about. And in the future, when this is all said and done, which it is at this point, nobody's gonna waste their time watching that. I was lucky enough to, by the time I came to watching, Naruto, it was basically at the tail end of that filler, so I got to skip all that bullshit. But right now, we're in the thick of it, and I feel like we're just wasting our time. So yeah, I'm disappointed at this. The statement that Piccolo made about, Goku and Vegeta, the reason why I strongly don't, agree with the assessment that he's making, and that Gohan saying that they couldn't even handle Cell Max with them, is because, one, these two characters, here's the thing, just because a character says something doesn't mean that what they're saying is exactly factual. Sometimes there's faults in it. For example, Gohan, he hasn't been fighting that much, so he hasn't been seeing them that much. Yes, you can say a tournament of power in there, but remember, these guys have godly power. How would Piccolo and Gohan know exactly how powerful these guys are? They can see what they were capable of and what they were able to accomplish, but that doesn't mean that they're still able to get a strong gist of how powerful they are. And the reason why I 100% disagree with that whole argument is the fact that if Gamma 1 and 2 were that powerful, they shouldn't have been struggling the way they did. First of all, when Gamma 2 fought Piccolo the first time, yes, he was holding back, but he was also aiming to kill Piccolo, and Piccolo was able to, handle him and still protect himself. Obviously, he was outpowered, but he was still able to handle himself. It wasn't that much. And let's be honest, at this point, Piccolo's power compared to Goku and Vegeta's would have been nowhere near the close. Goku and Vegeta would have been able to easily body him. So the fact that he's like, he's comparable to them, but you can't even, but he couldn't even take you out. And some of you guys might say, well, he's holding back, but remember, he was trying to go for the kill shot. That shot that he did, he thought he killed him. He was going for the kill shot, and Piccolo was able to escape it. And it wasn't because he was durable, it was because he was faster, but still, the attack of it has that much power to be able to kill Piccolo. Shouldn't the speed also be fast enough to hit him without him being able to react to it? But he did it, so that disproves it in my mind. And then also when, Gohan comes into the battle, Gohan at this point is even weaker. He hasn't been training. There's no way you can say he's comparable to Goku and Vegeta. But even when he was fighting Gamma 1, he was, in Super Saiyan 2, he was able to put up a decent fight. Yes, Gamma 1 was beating him. But once when he went into his, mystic form, he was getting the advantage. The only reason Gamma 1 was able to handle him was the fact that since he's an android, he could fight at full power until his entire battery drains. Whereas for regular people, the more the fight goes on, the weaker they become. But as a whole, he was stronger than him. So you can't say that these characters are on par with Goku and Vegeta's level of power, especially after what we've seen them in through, even in the Tournament of Power. But then we have these characters that are significantly weaker, like, Mystic Gohan and Piccolo, and these guys are able to handle them. And Mr. Gohan had the advantage over him. Mr. Gohan was beating him. So if he's getting beaten by Mr. Gohan, but he's supposed to be on, they're supposed to be on par with Goku and Vegeta, which Goku has mastered Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta has, at that time, I guess they're gonna argue Blue evolved, which is still a high level of power. You're telling me he can match with those levels of power, but then struggle against, Mystic Gohan? That's why I don't really believe it. And the Cell Max thing, Cell Max, he was beating up the other Z fighters, but Krillin and Android 18 and the fat Gotenks, they were all able to handle the attack still. They're still able to take the damage. You're telling me that Goku and Vegeta couldn't handle it? It just seems piss poor of logic. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that isn't the case at all. I'm just saying that there's a very big disconnect compared to the statements and what we see. I think it's more important than what we see compared to just statements of it can be contradicted. But also, the reason why I want to get into the Black Frieza arc is then we can truly see how powerful Orange Piccolo and Beast Gohan is, because then we're going to obviously have the reunion with Goku and Vegeta coming back, so they're going to show their power, and then they're going to show theirs, so we can see more of how powerful they are, and Gamma 1 and 2, since they should be back. I know, Gamma 1 obviously survived to sacrifice himself, but I'm pretty sure Dr. Hiro would just recreate him, so we get to see their power. So I want to see if that is exactly the case. Also, I want to see how far Broly's power has gotten to at this point. But as a whole, I just think it's boring. I can't wait till we get to Black Frieza arc, but if I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna probably take 2, maybe 3 months to get to there, seeing as how much time it takes for each chapter and how slow these chapters are gonna be. So yeah, wait for 2 to 3 months. Which sounds like hell. I really didn't care for this one. I'm not gonna care for the next few. I just wanted this to end as fast as possible. I want them to wrap it up as quick, because I'm pretty sure none of us really care. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.